Welcome over to Automotive World, everyone. I'm your host, my name is Shane. We have a really big story coming out tonight from Volkswagen. Volkswagen is going to be unveiling a brand new Golf GTI Clubsport. The official reveal for this is actually going to take place on the 31st of May, the 31st of this month. However, Volkswagen is actually going to be teasing, and none of them are going to actually be teasing, they're actually going to be showing off this vehicle with some camo at the Nürburgring. This vehicle, they have specially designed it to take place for 24 hours at the Nürburgring. So we've got some numbers. They did give us some numbers here in terms of horsepower and torque figures. We also do have just some figures on what they're running over with the Nürburgring track car. That car is specifically going to be a one-off, but we will see the official reveal for the Clubsport on the 31st of May. But we've got a lot of questions, so let's get right into this because we've got a lot of information here. First two things is, we're not going to have any pricing for this vehicle right now. We will receive that maybe hopefully on the 31st or maybe sometime after that, but we will not have any pricing for this vehicle. And unfortunately, this vehicle will not be making it more than likely to the American market. We haven't, the Clubsport we've had it kind of in the past and it never really did well under different naming. So more than likely this is going to be a vehicle that doesn't reach the American market. If it did, it would be really nice, but it's more than likely going to be a vehicle that's not going to. And here we have it next to the original Golf. Really cool to see. Size wise, obviously it has grown a bit. It still has somewhat stayed the same profile, but it has grown somewhat. And obviously, we can see from the overhead, the design, even though the design obviously also has evolved into the modern day, to see that there is still some similarities here. Really cool to see that. And we've got some pictures here as well. I mean, this is just a really cool picture under the wrap here. Let's go back to our most important stuff though, which is the power figures. So we have some power figures for this car. Keep in mind though, this car, like I said, because this is a one-off on the race car, this is going to be a bit of an anomaly, but we have some figures here. VW is going to be running this car on a specialized biofuel partnered with Shell. It's an alternative fuel. It is going to be a high-tech E20 fuel. So this is going to be racing fuel, and they're using that fuel because it's extremely resistant to NOx. It gives them better operation in terms of just power output, and because it is a biofuel and an alternative fuel, it actually does also greatly reduce the CO2 carbon emissions. And they've tested with other biofuels, E5 and E10. On this one they're using E20, and they say they get, in terms of anywhere from 35 to 40% fewer emissions. So that is really cool. And the way that they've been able to make this fuel with Shell, they were able to do this 20% biofuel content. So this is really cool, being able to use residual waste and materials and things like that, just because we can still have cars that make a great amount of power and still have that lower emission. But our most important thing is here. So in terms of mechanical horsepower, we're going to have 343 horsepower on this vehicle, and the torque figure at 450 newton meters is going to equal to 331 pound-feet of torque. So this is going to be competing in Nürburgring. This is going to be an endurance race. They are fitting it with a 100-liter fuel tank. It is using a 2-liter turbocharged engine getting to that figure. This is a bit interesting because obviously, for those who know or own a Golf R, 343 horsepower is more than what is in the current Golf R. So obviously, this is going to be, this is for the race car. This is for the Nürburgring. This is something that we're not going to see in the normal car more than likely. If we were to see this in the normal car, that would be really interesting. The current Golf GTI makes 241 horsepower. If we were to see this in the normal car, if this was the GTI, then that would be really interesting because that would be outclassing the Golf R by quite a decent amount. More than likely though, it's more than likely on the road going version we might see maybe going up to 296 or even just at the limit of 300 horsepower. We're not going to see it go above 3. More than likely we won't see it on the road going version going above 315 or 320, because then you would be past the Golf R at that point and also its competitors like the Civic Type R. If it did though, That would mean then the new Golf R would have to make over 350 horsepower, and that would be an insanely crazy car. And we do have some more pictures of the car here. Like I said, this isn't really an accurate picture because this is just more so them showing off the race car. They have been able to achieve a really, really cool efficiency power to weight ratio. Like I said, this is for the 24-hour race. This does have a 100-liter fuel tank. This is going to be competing at Nürburgring, but this gives us a lot of insight as to what's going to happen for the next GTI. Even though we don't receive the Club Sport here in America, we still do receive the regular Golf GTI, and we still do receive the Golf R. If we were to receive the Club Sport, or even the same engine from the Club Sport, this is very, very promising because we might now be going from, instead of 241 horsepower in the standard Golf GTI, we might be going or hitting just under 300 or hitting that 300 limit. This is also really interesting because for the Golf R, this means a lot of things. Obviously, to differentiate the Golf R, that is the biggest, that is the baddest Golf, that vehicle would also have to get more power. So this is really, really interesting, not only for the European market, and just because we would have a Golf GTI that makes close to 300 horsepower that isn't a Golf R, which is kind of crazy to say, but what does this mean in the American market for VW? Because where they would label this car right now, they kind of have a nice sweet spot with the Golf GTI, because you have the Jetta GLI making 228 horsepower, the Golf GTI in America makes 241, and then the Golf R is making 315, 320. So if they were to increase the power like that, this would put them in a really, really interesting spot. Like I said, this is the race car version of it, so the road going version is probably not going to have that amount of horsepower, just because it wouldn't be competing. It would be competing, and out competing with the Golf R. So it's just, that's probably not going to happen. More than likely, we'll probably see anywhere from 280 to 300 horsepower. A lot of numbers have been going around and being 290, 296. That would be a really good range to, be there. That is very likely to see, but we will have to see on the official reveal on the 31st of May what exactly they give us with this car. Obviously, we do know this is going to be a hotter version. We are going to get more power. We are more than likely not going to get this vehicle here in the United States. It is what it is. But this is really, really interesting to see this here. Like I said, just the fact that we might have a Golf that makes just under, if not 300 horsepower. And then let's say with the 1% chance that this does come out with 343 horsepower. I mean, that means the next Golf R would be going absolutely crazy, absolutely bonkers. And so this is really, really interesting to see. We'll have to wait till the 31st to see the official unveiling of this car. VW does not mention if they will be bringing this car to the United States. Like I said, more than likely this vehicle is not going to we won't receive it stateside. We may, in the next upgrade or the next refresh for the Golf GTI here in America, we may receive that engine, or it may even be sold on the higher end trims, being like the Autobahn trims and things like that. But there is no indication whether this vehicle is going to come stateside, but more than likely this vehicle is not, because this is not the first time VW's in a Club Sport model. They've been doing this for a very long time, and this is just one of those trims, one of those kind of things we don't receive here in the United States, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. We really don't have any information other than that is really relevant. They do talk about just the racing, heritage and things like that. But really the biggest thing is we have to wait till the 31st to see the actual road going version of it. So that's really honestly going to do it for now. But this video here was just so that way we can, before we see it on that official release of the 31st, we are able to speculate, because like I said, it's very possible that we might be receiving a Golf GTI, especially if you're in Europe. You might be receiving a Club Sport that might be making close to, if not 300 horsepower. And that would be, first of all, crazy, like I said, to see it just in a regular GTI, whether it's a Club Sport or not. And like I said, if you're going to get 300 horsepower in a GTI, I can only imagine what the next update for the Golf R would be, because that thing is going to go crazy. So this is one of those kind of feel-good videos. There's not a lot of information. This is really just more of a conversation. But this is going to do it for now, everyone. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys think that this vehicle should come to the stateside here like myself, Let me know down below in the comments. Hopefully VW sees this, and let me know what you guys think this means for the Golf GTI, not only over in Europe but over here in America. And what does it mean for the Golf R as well? Do you think they're gonna do 296 or 300 horsepower, and then the next Golf R is gonna be crazy, or is this just VW just showing this off just because, and it's gonna be maybe 250 horsepower? Who knows? Maybe it's the same car. Let me know what you guys think down below. This is gonna do it for now. Thanks for watching, everyone.